Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Right now, we are in the middle of a massive, seismic paradigm shift in the world of cricket. Seriously, if you've been tracking the 2026 Indian Premier League season, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The ground has completely shifted beneath the franchises we used to think were, well, pretty much invincible. We are looking at a historic changing of the guard. So today, we're going to unpack the billion-dollar rise of Royal Challengers Bengaluru and the absolute shockwave that was the collapse of the foundational IPL empires. Let's dive right in. To really wrap our heads around the magnitude of what's going on, we have to start with this quote from Wisden. Good things come in threes. 3 years is also the length of one IPL cycle. Now, the hidden math behind that quote is what is truly wild. Think about this for a second. For an incredible 18 years, if you took literally any 3-year period in the IPL, either the Chennai Super Kings or the Mumbai Indians walked away with at least one trophy. 18 years of guaranteed dominance. But as of this 2024 to 2026 cycle, that streak is totally dead. For the very first time, neither of these heavyweights has won a title in a 3-year span. Actually, they haven't even made a final in this period. The era where they just automatically ruled the league is officially over.
So, what actually went wrong? Well, the reasons for their falls are completely different. On one side, you have CSK. They built their entire historic dynasty on the brilliant, calm leadership of MS Dhoni. But the moment he stepped back, a massive identity crisis took over. They were relying heavily on an aging core, that famous dad's army. And some pretty frantic moves at the auctions proved they just didn't have a real succession plan for a post-Dhoni world. Meanwhile, Mumbai Indians relied on a totally different formula. Their superpower was always a stellar scouting system that found young Indian talent way before anyone else. But, as the league professionalized, the other teams just caught up. Throw in the off-field chatter and leadership changes around Hardik Pandya, and that vital competitive edge they had, it just vanished.
But you know what they say, nature abhors a vacuum. While the old king stumbled, a new monarch finally took the throne. If you follow RCB, you already know their painful history. People literally thought this franchise was cursed. The heartbreak was just relentless. Runner-up in 2009, runner-up in 2011, runner-up again in 2016. That is 18 long years of carrying the weight of massive expectations with absolutely nothing in the trophy cabinet to show for it. Well, until 2025. Against the Punjab Kings, right there at the Narendra Modi Stadium, the curse was finally, definitively broken. RCB pulled off a thrilling 6-run victory to become the maiden IPL champions.
So how did a team that was honestly famous for its spectacular failures suddenly figure it all out? It took a massive strategic shift. For years, RCB was basically just the Virat Kohli show, maybe supplemented by 1 or 2 other superstars like AB de Villiers or Chris Gayle, but if those big names failed, the whole team went down with them. In 2025, though, they completely flipped the script and drastically reduced their dependency on Kohli alone. Get this, they had an incredible 9 different player of the match winners throughout the season. 9. Everyone stepped up exactly when they needed to. Sometimes the top order set the pace, sometimes the finishers closed it out, and sometimes the bowlers defended really tight totals. It wasn't just a flashy collection of stars anymore, it became a complete, balanced, championship-caliber team. And all that on-field magic? It resulted in this very specific number. $1.78 billion. Yeah, billion with a B. In March 2026, that incredible sporting triumph translated straight into the boardroom, setting the record for the highest franchise valuation in the entire history of the Indian Premier League. That completely shattered the previous $1.63 billion record that was held by the Rajasthan Royals. So you gotta ask, who exactly writes a check that big? The new mega consortium that grabbed 100% equity stake is a complete who's who of corporate heavyweights. You've got the Aditya Birla Group led by Aryaman Vikram Birla. You have media titans the Times Group. Then they brought in some serious international sports ownership muscle with Bolt Ventures, which is owned by David Blitzer, the guy who co-founded Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment. And finally, Blackstone, the massive global investment firm. So yeah, this isn't just a cricket team anymore. This is a highly optimized, massively funded global sports brand built for total dominance.
Which brings us right to the ultimate question for the 2026 title defense. Heavy lies the crown, right? Can RCB actually handle the crushing weight of expectations now that they are the newly minted billion-dollar reigning kings? Back in 2025, nobody really expected them to win. They were the underdogs chasing history. But walking into 2026, they had a massive target painted squarely on their backs. They weren't the hunters anymore. They were the hunted. And honestly, I'd say they handled that pressure beautifully. The 2026 league stage ended up being an incredibly tight race at the very top of the table. RCB, the Gujarat Titans, and Sunrisers Hyderabad all finished this grueling league stage locked in a total dead heat with 18 points. But RCB snatched that crucial #1 overall seed by edging everyone else out with a superior net run rate of .783. They didn't just survive a league stage where everyone was gunning for them, they dominated it to secure a direct path to Qualifier 1.
Now, you might be wondering how exactly they built up that massive net run rate. Just listen to these 2026 batting strike rates. It's almost unfair. You have Virat Kohli anchoring the innings at a very brisk 144.71. Devdutt Patikal steps it up over 150. Phil Salt is out there launching rockets at nearly 176. Tim David comes in at 185. And then you hit the bottom of the list. Romario Shepherd striking at 291.67, nearly 300. I mean, opposing bowlers are literally defeated before they even step onto the pitch. There's absolutely no safe place and no safe over to bowl against this top 7.
But you know the old saying, batters win matches, but bowlers win tournaments. Coming into 2026, RCB actually faced a huge problem. Their star pacer, Josh Hazlewood, was battling injuries and missed a huge chunk of time. So who stepped up? Bhuvaneshwar Kumar completely put the team on his back. He captured a massive 24 wickets, bringing this vital veteran experience exactly when they needed it most. Rafiq Salam was an absolute revelation with 14 wickets, while Colonel Pandya provided exceptionally tight spin to grab 11 of his own. And hey, even with his limited playtime, Hazlewood still managed to secure 12 wickets. They adapted, they covered for each other, and they proved their bowling attack could exploit absolutely any surface in the league.
Let's just step back for a second and look at the historical stakes here. In the entire history of the IPL, only 2 teams have ever managed the incredibly difficult feat of winning back-to-back titles. And we all know exactly who they are, the Chennai Super Kings and the Mumbai Indians. By finishing at the very top of the table and cruising into the playoffs in 2026, RCB put themselves in the absolute perfect position to become the 3rd team in history to pull this off. If they do, they firmly replace those fallen dynasties in the history books forever.
And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought to chew on. As we look at this completely transformed cricket landscape today, with RCB's billion-dollar backing, their perfectly balanced squad, and the undeniable collapse of the old guard, are we witnessing the birth of the IPL's brand new permanent dynasty? Or, given that the last few finals have featured highly varied teams, has the league finally achieved total parity, meaning the era of those dominant, untouchable empires is just gone for good? It's going to be absolutely thrilling to watch it all unfold. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope it helps shed some light on the wild shifts happening in the IPL right now. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time. Hey everyone!